the upper part of my body is very, very ballet. My footwork is Odissi. Dance for me is not just entertainment, it's something far deeper, far deeper. As I said, I dance for the soul, and something, it shouldn't be just something visually appealing. That's necessary
But
because
you
it's a
did-
visual art.
You did make a career out of dance.
It was never my career. I've never earned from dance. And there was, now I know it was Chobi Bishash who was sitting there,
Right.
and I was asked to say something like Baba Thaba, one little dialogue, which I did. And I was always very expressive, because CLT Teke, they picked me up.
What I'm also very interested to know, Pishi, is that gradually, for you, dance took completely different course when you went to work with lifers and people who were inmates of the prison.
Through dance, I have found all my children there. And even if I wasn't dancing, even if they don't dance, they'll still be my children. What I would do for my child, I try to do in my very small way for each and every one of them. And one of the ladies had said that I was glamorizing criminals. And I felt so bad hearing that. This was in the beginning. I said I'll never ever ask anybody for anything. And one of the boys who has committed, I think, 23, 24 murders, quite an aggressive kind of guy. This is for the divine. You surrender and you say, forgive me. Right? The next day, all his aggression was gone. That's why I always, with folded hands, I say two things repeatedly, thousands of times. That give them a second chance, not a third. But everybody deserves a second chance. And we must never forget that no child is born a criminal.
You know what? I've never felt so relaxed on my own show. Not because it's just no format, because I'm sipping my hot cuppa, sitting next to the most gorgeous human being that I would ever meet in my life after my mother. Traditionally the word gorgeous is used with just the external beauty. But here I am, sitting with a gorgeous mind, a human who transformed her art form to actually humanize the society. This is a time where the turbulence that we see in the outside world has kind of deformed humanity. But there are reformers like Alokananda Ray who lives in our city and makes us proud all the time. Welcome to No Format.
Thank you.
I'm so delighted that you agreed to be on my show. You had no choice also. You can't say no to me. You've never said no to me.
No choice.
Absolutely.
I don't dare.
That's a lot of people.
Neither the courage.
No, tell me something. Your name essentially, connotes a river.
Yes.
Where
Yes.
did the name come from?
Well, my mother, earlier I was Onumpa Chakladar.
Onumpa.
Onumpa in CLT. I was in CLT, and there people know me as Onumpa Chakladar.
Achha.
Now, as a child, in nursery till KG3, I was in St. John's Diocesan.
Okay.
And I was still Onumpa then.
All right.
So my mother brought me to Modern High School. Then it was very new. And she changed my name to Alokananda. Now, mind you, my name is actually Alokananda, named after the river.
Achha.
And I don't know, she really had a vision. That's how I am. I just flow on, creating maybe floods.
Well,
changing
true.
course, going here, there, everywhere.
But still flowing.
Still flowing,
flowing.
And I never look back.
I'm so glad. Like a river, it never
So
looks
then
back.
it was Alokananda.
Yeah.
And
And you also have formed tributaries and distributaries
Yes,
in
yes,
so many
yes.
different
So
parts
that's
of
what
the
I'm
world.
saying. And I've changed course so many times.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, that's very important that you've changed course in life, you've
Yeah.
changed course in your dance form.
Yes.
You have actually broken the rules,
Yeah.
you've created your own
Yes.
rules, and you've created your
Just
own
like
art
the
form,
river.
just like the river. That's fantastic. You know what really excites me is in the realm of classical dance, you have always been coveted, but you were not always mainstream because you chose to always innovate and
Yes.
experiment
Yes.
in the true sense of the
Yeah,
word
yeah.
with your dance form.
Huh.
I'm very curious to know. I lovingly call her Pishi, which in English would mean aunt. That's how I
And I
address her.
lovingly call him my teddy. He's my teddy, my
Yeah.
little stuffed
All right.
cat.
Okay. All right. Well, quite a rotund soft toy, I must say.
Slim soft toys are no fun.
Slim soft toys.
Can you imagine a slim teddy?
I cannot. No, so what took you to dance?
Well, I don't know when I haven't danced. I was born to dance. And since my childhood. And I have to tell you this, that this 8th of May, I will be completing 70 years of my dance performance. My first dance performance was in Jorashako Thakurbari,
Oh,
Pochishe Boishak,
right.
where I danced by
And
default.
how-
I was not being allowed to. I just went onto the stage,
Oh.
and I did Gahana Kusuma Kunjamache.
You barged on.
Solo, because
Solo.
nobody entered. They were all big, girls,
Mm-hmm.
my aunts and all. So they refused to enter with me, but I just entered. So they stayed back. So that was my first solo performance.
So you just
Nothing in my life is normal, right? So even my first solo performance, and those were the days when people would announce a gold medal. Never got it, but it was always announced. So utai power. That
No.
was like, and somebody announced a gold medal
right.
for me.
You know, Gahana Kusuma Kunja Majhe is a Rabindra Sangit, and it's composed by Tagore and Moithili Bhasha, যেটা ভানু সিংহের পদাবলী. So what I wanted to know was, after that, like when you seriously did you learn the craft? Did you go to a guru?
Yes, first I
Okay.
went to CLT, Children's Little Theatre.
Okay.
That's where I learned to love dance.
Okay.
And there was no regimentation.
Do you remember your guru there?
So many of them. I had Balakrishna Menon.
Okay.
There was Suresh Datto. And
You mean the gentleman of puppet theatre?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So what did he teach you?
dance. He was actually a Kathak dancer. So that's, and Menanda was also there. So
Who's Menanda?
Balakrishna Menon.
Balakrishna Menon.
Huh.
Okay.
So Menanda taught us classical movements, and we didn't even know they were classical movements, right?
Okay.
So we learned different forms in very playfully. That's why I learned to love dance. There was no regimentation, and that is why perhaps it's been there in my mind. My dance school doesn't have any exams. No. If you need a certificate, I'll give you a handwritten certificate when you require. But there are no exams. There is no assessment as such. You just learn for the joy of it. Dance, yes, it should make you feel free. Why should you be bogged down with
that kind of challenges somewhere. When
Yeah.
we started this interview, you said that you changed courses so many
Yes.
number of times. That kind of challenges the norm of classical dance also,
Yes,
because it's
I've
very
done it.
regimented.
I did.
So what did you face a lot of trouble doing that?
Uh,
I'm not talking about your.
very strangely,
Okay.
nobody has come up and told me
Okay.
that this is not right.
But did you feel any discrimination?
No, I don't care. I dance for myself, and I dance for the divine.
That's a very important thing to say. You dance with the divine.
Yes, I dance for the divine. And, and I find God in everybody in the audience. And I can feel the vibe.
in the audience.
Yes, I don't dance for the eyes, nor do I dance for the brain. I dance for the soul. And I think I have been able to touch many souls.
Of course you have. And all over the world. This is amazing that, here was a dancer, or here is a dancer who actually changed the alleys and the lanes of classical dance to cross over and create your own language.
Yes.
That was not easy, but you said that you did it just spontaneously.
I just did it.
You did not even realize that you were doing it.
Yeah,
I
and
guess.
when you do it with confidence, and when you know what you're doing, then people accept. And I didn't do anything meaningless. You understand? I wasn't doing something just to prove a point. No, I just let go.
Nishi, essentially, Odissi is associated with you.
Yes.
You are
Yes.
also associated with
Yes.
that dance form. There were, legends and gurus like Keluchan Mahapatra, Sanjukta Panigrahi. And of course, we have Sonal Mansingh. We have so many people in the field of dance. Aruna Mahanti. So many different people and dancers. Have you ever faced any opposition from legendary dancers to your dance form?
No,
Okay.
never. And moreover, I never wanted to be a performer. Now I realize that. I wanted to be a dancer. But that doesn't mean I have to perform on stage. I can dance anywhere. And I think the freedom is something that needs to be embedded in all dancers. If you don't feel free, then you are just a dancer. If your soul doesn't feel that freedom for the art, from the art that you are using, um, then it is just a regimented art. That freedom is required. You see, what I now realize, I never watch my dance on videos. I don't like to watch. I get bored, number one, and I find 201 faults. So why look at it?
Well,
It's happened.
It's happened.
As I said, I never look back. So it's happened. I know what I want to do the next time. Now, the thing is that now sometimes when I look at my dance, I realize that there's a lot of influence of Russian ballet, which I learned for 5 years as a child. And my stretches, the upper part of my body is very, very ballet. My footwork is Odissi. And so I think I have been able to combine the two and create my own style unconsciously. I didn't do it consciously. I just let myself. I love the rhythm. I love the sound of ghungroos. I love intricate rhythmic patterns. But I have moved away from the typical, what should I say, regimented form.
Of classical dance.
Whether it's mudras, I use a lot of mudras, but it doesn't have to be with every word. It should express one's emotion. It doesn't have to express the words only. It's the bhav that needs to be expressed, not just the words, literally. And the expressions. I have moved away from the classical form of expressions, facial expressions, to the natural form. So that is how I have created, again, unknowingly, unconsciously, my own little style.
Do you still teach at
I-
Chandanalu?
Yes, I do.
You do?
I like to
What do you
choreograph.
teach?
Freedom.
Excellent.
Each form of the body is different. Each mind is different. I will teach you the grammar, the nouns, the adjectives, the verbs, the alphabets. Making a sentence is up to you. How you make a sentence, that is up to you. I don't push anything into them. because I wouldn't have liked anybody to push some, down my throat by somebody. And if nobody has tried, because probably my teachers also realized that I'm a free soul, a free spirit. And nobody really interfered. Sometimes I used to do some rubbish on stage, and Didi Sanjukta Panigrahi would say, "Where did you get this step from? Where did you?" I said, "What am I supposed to do? You're not there. If I forget something, I create my own."
Coming to Sanjukta Panigrahi,
Yeah.
you've learned a lot from her
Yes,
as well.
yes. She was my only guru in Odissi.
Tell us about her. Probably the new generation needs to know about Sanjukta Panigrahi, what a legend she was.
Oh, yeah.
But tell us about an incident or a story that you still remember and you
There
were
was
awe-inspired.
so many of them. When I first saw her, I thought she was a real Apsara.
Okay.
That perfection and her dedication. Each movement was picture perfect. I never thought I will go and learn from her.
Okay.
That the credit goes to Biman Ghosh.
Okay.
Because I was going for a vacation to Bhubaneswar. This is you go and learn. I said, "No, I'm going for a vacation. I don't like to dance all the time." So he says, "No, but you take this letter." So I took the letter, went and met her. I was very keen to meet her, of course. So I went, and she read the letter, and she said, "Okay, I will teach you." I was her first and her only student. She was a performer. She was never a teacher as such.
Yeah.
You see, she held workshops, but on a regular basis, she never really taught. Because she didn't have the time, nor was she inclined.
What did you imbibe from Sanjukta Panigrahi?
I used to just observe her and learned so much from her. Her style, um, the way she moved, but again, the way maybe her expressions were different from what I do. But then you need to learn to unlearn.
Yeah.
If you don't learn, how will you unlearn and create something? I always felt that she was she. I can never be a Sanjukta Panigrahi, not even a second Sanjukta Panigrahi. I'm Munni. I'm Alokananda. So I will be myself. And she has never interfered with that. Never. I created my own style, and she never ever stopped me from being so. That's what I loved about her. That I did what I wanted to do. And the kind of support she gave me. Then Guruji once wanted to teach me. He says, "I want to teach you." At that time, he still hadn't come to Kolkata. He was still there. I started in 75. He came here in 80. So when he wanted to teach me, I told the Didi that she, for a film or something. She was very upset. She just wanted me to herself. She was very, very possessive. So I didn't go to her. After she passed away, Guruji called me. He says that now, and I told him that I belong to her and her only. So when she passed away, he called me once. He had come to Calcutta, wanted to see me, and then said that now Sanju is not here. You can come to me. So I said, I can't, because I still belong to her. I'll come to you, but I cannot go to anybody else. I've never learned Odissi from anybody else. So whatever little I've learned from her, I think that's a lot for me. And I work around it. And maybe that is why I have been able to create my own style.
There is a general apathy to buying tickets for a dance program if it's not entertaining. Obviously, there is always an audience for a classical dance program. There's an audience who go to watch dance theatre. But if today there is a heroine, an actress from any part of the world, and she may not be a dancer, but she comes and claims that she's going to be dancing on stage, there will be still people buying tickets and flocking up for that performance. There are two things here. One is the gaze, the male and the female gaze, and also the entertainment factor. What would you comment on this?
See, people have the right to choose what they want to see. But it is also the responsibility of dancers, I will talk about dance, to offer the right kind of art. Because if people don't get to see the right kind, what I mean by right kind is meaningful, right? Then they will
I know you're not a prude, so I know what you mean by meaningful,
yeah.
of course.
So they will automatically go where they find that entertainment. See, dance for me is not just entertainment. It's something far deeper. Far deeper. As I said, I dance for the soul. And it shouldn't be just something visually appealing. That's necessary because it's a visual art.
You did make a career out of dance.
It was never my career. I've never earned from dance. I've never charged a fee. Because I just wanted to do it for the passion, and that's what my late husband Chandan also encouraged me to do. He says, maybe one day if somebody cannot offer you the amount you want, you may not want to do it. But since you love dancing, just go for it. So I have never earned a penny from my performances till I started my work in the prison, because I had to fund my work. So,
My God.
I have never. I don't know where I'm not wealthy, but I'm very rich.
Very few artists can say that, Bishi.
I'm not wealthy, but I'm very rich with so much love, appreciation. I don't know whether I deserve so much love and appreciation, because I do paglami. My dance, my art, everything is paglami. It's
Madness, a kind of madness.
Madness.
Yes.
If people like it, they like it. If they don't like it, they
don't
don't like it. And I have nothing against people who don't like it. Right? And I loved it.
Tell us about the teenager Alokananda Ray. Alokananda Ray.
I was Chakladar.
Yes.
Yes.
All the stories of Miss India, and let's talk
crazy,
about it.
And
Okay.
I think I have always had the choice to be free.
Mm-hmm.
My parents made sure, as long as I don't make a wrong choice, which I seldom did. So, and I was not a very self-conscious person, ever. Now when I look back, yes, I wanted to look good, but I wouldn't spend hours and hours and hours. Believe me, I've never had a facial in my life. Never. Ask me what I use.
I don't think you need it also.
No. I use coconut oil and borolin. That's my beauty regime.
I hope you're hearing that.
So that's what I do. Otherwise, no. Anyway, so I went for a haircut. I remember this Ennis on Russell Street. And there was this lady, a middle-aged lady sitting there, and she was watching me. So naturally, if somebody is watching you, you can feel it, right? So I kept looking at her, and then she came up to me and said that, why don't you join the Miss India contest, Femina Miss India contest? I said, I'm not interested. I don't believe in competition.
Were you married?
No. She said, why not? I said, I'm too fat. I had to tell her something. And I was too young to sort of argue that way. So logically. So she said, you give me your address. So I gave her my address. She came home. Those were the days when they had to go look for participants.
There was no GPS.
No, they had to go look for people to participate.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm sure there weren't enough. So
Of course,
So
yes.
she approached me.
This must be the 70s.
60s, in
60s.
69.
Oh.
Okay, so then...
So yes, I mean, it's still a beauty pageant itself was a very new phenomena at that point in time.
Yeah, and I don't know, I was not interested. So then came and spoke to my parents. She said if she wants to go, she can go. We have no objection.
Your parents are super cool.
Yeah. So I told, says, then you give me 3-4 forms. So I wanted to go and have some fun with my friends.
Okay.
In those days, it used to be regional contests. Miss Calcutta, Miss Delhi, Miss Bombay, Miss Chandigarh, Miss Bangalore, Miss Madras. And they had regional contests, and the misses, the winners, they went to Bombay, and the final Miss India was selected from these. Right? It was very different. And we didn't have any grooming session, no nothing. So we dressed the way we could. We did our own makeup and our own hair. No grooming, nothing. So what I find different, this I have to say, is that we were not clones, right? We were all individuals. We were all different personalities, different way of dressing, different way of talking, different way of walking.
Of course.
Right? So maybe I had an advantage being a dancer. I could walk on the stage with stilettos. Anyway, so I was a winner in Kolkata, then Calcutta, Miss Calcutta, and went to Bombay, now Mumbai, and the finals were held then. And I was sure I was not getting anywhere because nobody was below 5'6".
Do you remember the judges who were there?
Yes, there was Tanuja, there was Devanand,
Okay.
and somebody else, and there was Amin Saini or Amit Saini.
Amin Saini.
Amin Saini.
Who recently passed away.
Yes.
He was the NC.
Yeah. So we were there 3 days before. So we used to have different sessions, like a dinner with the judges, where the judges would talk to you, and it was a very different way of doing things. I think a much better way of doing things. And on the and then I was getting offers for films.
In Bombay.
Yeah, in Bombay. And those were the days when they would come with a briefcase for
I know.
signing amount.
Yes,
briefcase, right?
Yes.
And I remember the airfare
Yes.
in Indian Airlines,
Right.
round trip, was 680 rupees.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
So they came with the signing amount and all, and they asked me if I was interested. I said, I'm not interested.
What are the films did you refuse?
I don't know.
You don't even remember the names
I
of
don't
the
even.
films.
I was never interested. I don't know why. Now I feel I would have loved to work behind the camera, maybe, but not in front, because as I said, I need my freedom, and stage gives me that freedom. I'll do any rubbish, and I'll do it. If I have to.
So you
take any
won
change-
Miss India,
I was first runner.
first runners up, and then you came back. to
I came
Calcutta.
back, and then over there only, in the 3 days that we were there, I used to get these offers, and 3 of them, I can't remember their names because I was
Of
never
course,
interested
of
in
course.
films. So I said that no, I'm not. Why? I said, I don't know why, but I just want to dance. And I want to do it on stage, and only once. I don't want to keep repeating the same thing over and over again. I need my freedom. Okay? So that is the reason why I never worked in films.
So, you have been very generous in also refusing offers in cinema, and because you chose dance to be your only vocation. But tell us about 2 films that you did not do.
As a child, Kabuliwala, I was then, I think, 5 years old.
So the
5,
first
6
choice
years.
was not Tinku Thakur, it was you.
I suppose. Maybe
Okay.
they were auditioning many. I
Alright.
have no idea.
All right.
So I went, and there was, now I know, it was Chobi Bishash who was sitting there,
Right.
and I was asked to say something like Baba Thaba, one little dialogue, which I did. And I was always very expressive, because CLT Teke, they picked me up.
Of course.
Okay. So I said, and then again, the person who took me was my eldest cousin, Tonno I used to call him.
Mhm.
So he had gone with me, not my parents.
Okay.
Right? And I was asked to say "Khub bhalo," so another line or something, and it was again that Baba.
Tapan Sinha was there.
Yeah. I'm sure. I
Yes.
don't even know who each one was.
Of course.
I was too small.
Yeah.
So again, there was something like Baba, something. And it was in a studio. Yeah. I remember the black curtains all around. That's all I remember. And there were all these lights here.
You were
and
just
there.
5 years old.
Yeah.
We kind of forgive your memory on that. But
yeah.
any,
You have to
any
forgive
other
my
film?
memory even now.
No. That's, we'll come to that. But let's talk about the other film
then
that you...
I said, when I was asked to say the second one, I said, I'll say it in Bengali.
Yes.
He says, Ami barbar oke baba bolbo na. Tonno cholo. So I just held as a cholo and I walked away from there. This was my first stint with audition.
You actually said that.
Yeah, I said cholo.
I don't want to call him father
Barbar
repeatedly.
bolbo.
And
Barbar
leave.
and Baba bolbo.
Let's go.
Let's go. Meaninglessly Baba bolbo karenge. I think that was the
That was the whole idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the second one was for Balika Bodhu because Torun Majumdar was also a very good friend of my father.
Okay.
So I believe he came with the script. That's what my mother told me. And so I said that, what is it about? He says, it's about, he wants to cast you in a film, I think, a new one that he's doing. I said, I will not do. I will not say repeat the same thing over and over again. Because, on stage, and whatever you do, whether it's good or bad, it's canned, right? You cannot make it any better again. Whereas on stage, I keep changing. I keep innovating. You don't have that freedom. As I said, the first word in my life's vocabulary is freedom. Because I have got so much freedom and I value my own freedom. That is why I've learned to value other people's freedom as well. And that is what I try to give. Everybody's free to do what they want with me. In front of me, with their life, my students, everybody is free. I never ever impose anything. I tell them what is good and what is not good in my eyes or in the way I feel, but it's up to you to make your choice. I'm not going to live your life for you. I can only guide you.
Fantastic. But what I'm also very interested to know, Pishi, is that gradually, for you, dance took a completely different course when you went to work with lifers and people who were inmates of the prison. And I also know, and half of the world knows your making of Valmiki Pratibha with Nigel. In fact, Nigel rose to stardom because of you. And the fact is, what you did for Nigel and that group of boys and girls, there were girls also, is something that possibly, students of sociology should document and research on. I'm not going to talk about Valmiki Pratibha. What I want to know is what made you choose to do this?
Well, my whole life is unplanned. And my life has no theory. Okay? I don't follow any theory and I don't have one myself. So, and like people generalize. You are like this, people are like this, so and so is like this. No, each individual is different and nobody knows that better than me. Because I have got this whole group of boys and girls from different backgrounds with different levels of crime. And I've put them all under one umbrella, right? But each one I have treated individually. how I've treated Nigel is not how I've treated B or C or D. They all need they have their own way of expression, and they all need a different kind of medicine. Okay, so I don't put antibiotics on everybody.
I know you wouldn't talk about it, but that boy should have been a little more fair to you.
No.
Yes,
He's my
let's
very,
come
very
to.
special child. He'll always remain my special child.
Yeah, I know. Parents are very forgiving. I understand that. No, so coming to now the concept of open prison that you're
Yes,
working with. Can you
yes.
tell us a little about that?
Well, I don't know how many of you know about open prison, that mostly lifers who have served a certain period of time and have a good track record,
Okay.
they are sent to open prison. There are only three now in West Bengal, in Lalgola, in Durgapur, and in Midnapur. Now, they are unlocked at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they have to go find work, earn, and they have to come back to the prison at 8 o'clock. So they're locked up again at 8 o'clock. They have to cook their own food, and you know, they don't provide you for anything. But the plus point is, though we don't have the infrastructure here, but the law says that they can bring their family and live with their family. But
In the prison.
yes, that's a separate
Unit.
section. Yeah, a separate section. So many of my boys are there. The women are not sent to open prison, but the men go to.
Is that a rule for women?
Yeah. I don't think. I don't know if it could be an unwritten law or
Okay.
an unwritten rule, because it's not easy for women to stay in an open prison because they're kind of unguarded, right? So it could be a little difficult. So they have difficulty in finding jobs. They have difficulty fending for themselves. So that is where I have tried to rehabilitate many prisoners who have been released, right? With the help of friends. Like one of my boys who was my master tailor, because the costumes were all stitched by them. But my master tailor, when he got released, one of my friends, he gave 70,000 rupees. He's got a tailoring shop. There's one with the fruit juice center. I went to Metro Cash and Carry. I said, just give certain amount to begin with. So now I'm going to Durgapur Steel Plant to ask them if they can help with any startup kit for these boys who are in the open prison.
This has nothing to do with dance.
No.
Why do you do it?
See, through dance, I have found all my children there. And even if I wasn't dancing, even if they don't dance, they'll still be my children. What I would do for my child, I try to do in my very small way for each and every one of them. Dance has been an instrument, but I've never ever imagined there will be dancers. If you see them individually, nobody can really dance. But put together, their effort, their energy, their dedication is magic on stage.
All the boys that you worked or the girls that you worked with when you started preparing for Balmiki Pratibha, have all they been released?
All of them. From the first team, nobody is there except one boy, Krishna. I always call him Ama Choto Chile. He's still there. And, most of them...
Will he be released
I
eventually?
don't know. Should be. He's been there now for 24 years. He should be pardoned. And he's the only one, so I really feel bad for him. Yeah, I'm sure everything happens at
Are you in touch
time.
with him?
Yeah, of course I am. He's my Choto Chile, as I say. Pagla Chile. Others are all released and they've all gone back to very normal life in their own way. You see, most of them come from very, very humble background. Very humble background. So, in their own way, they have settled down. Some of them have tried to help. Like one of Rahul, my son's friend, who works with a tea company, used to give 100 kilos of tea every month. So I used to distribute it to 5 boys. So they had their own tea stalls. I mean, in very small way, and they don't have much demand. And they're just happy doing what they're doing. And they say, ma diye, ma koriche.
And what I'm curious to know, I'm sure, all my viewers on No Format would love to know, is the fact that you worked with the Indian prison and you've also worked with the American prison in LA. Tell us one story there which was life-changing for you.
See, I had gone for this world conference on Shakespeare in prison. And I never thought...
On Shakespeare in prison.
They do a lot of theatre in prisons.
They do?
Yeah, they do. But they will never be allowed to come out and perform. It is all within the prison walls.
Okay.
So this is nowhere in the world do prisoners go out of the prison. They perform and they come back to the prison.
You achieved that, yeah.
I have been able to, with the support of many.
And nobody has run away.
No.
That's
and we
thumbs
travel
up to
by
you for
train, by buses. We've been to Delhi thrice. We've been to Mumbai twice. We've been to Bangalore, Pune, Bhubaneswar. We've been all over, and I travel with them on the train. I never thought I will be allowed to go into any of the prisons because I'm a foreigner there. Foreigners are usually not allowed, but they got a special permission. So I did a couple of sessions with them. And they started calling me Mama Roy. I'm Mama Roy to the prisoners there. I'm Mama Roy to all the delegates of Shakespeare in prison. Everybody calls me Mama Roy. And after dancing, I said, you have to introduce dance. They told me that, Mama Roy, something felt free inside. Is that you? I said, no. It's the rhythm and music and movements. Your body spoke. It wasn't me. I was just the instrument. That's it. That's what dance can do. But I don't know if they've introduced after that. And, they have trackers, digital trackers. So they are monitored 24/7. They can't take it out. Even for recharging, they have to sit next to the charger and not take it off. So one of the boys who was charging his tracker was sitting and watching while we were dancing. And when it was done, he came up and said that, Mama, you have to do it for me. I said, of course I'll do it for you. And he went on and on and on dancing. So I said, what did you feel? He says, when I was watching them, I was watching their expressions. I was watching your face. And it made me feel as though we are all here together for a common purpose of feeling good. This is what this boy told me. And anyway, it's different. And there you're not supposed to touch anybody. I didn't know. I went and hugged them. They didn't tell me anything. They're not supposed to touch. And I call my organization Touch World because I felt touch heals.
Is there any chance that you might go back to them and work with them?
Who? In
America?
If I get an opportunity, yes, of course. And I'm also working in the Pondicherry Prison, in case you don't know.
Tell us about it.
Oh yeah, that's more interesting. The irony is that in a foreign country, uh, we speak not the same, we don't speak the same language, but we can understand each
Yes,
other because
yes.
a common language.
Of course.
When we're in Pondicherry, in my own country, they speak Tamil and I speak English. So the prisoners. But we communicate so beautifully. They're all waiting for me now. When I go to meet them, they'll make a bouquet from the garden within the prison. They'll make a bouquet out of it, and they'll wait for me. And they make me a special tea, which they call COVID tea. You know, one of those with all kinds of masala. Pondicherry was again another very different experience because they have no idea what dance is all about. They have seen maybe a little bit of Bharatanatyam or something. Beyond that, they don't know what is Bhangra, what is Dandiya. And I made them do it. They performed. They did Dandiya, they did Bhangra, they did Kalaripayattu. And one of the boys who has committed, I think, 23, 24 murders, is quite an aggressive kind of guy, and he used to bully everybody, even during rehearsals. So I gave him a stick, and I said, you can do the kalari, and you can do some martial movements. So he was doing it, and in the end, after the show, there is this bit. There's Buddhang Sharanam Gacchami, Kanve Hinsha Desh Kanve, and there's Buddhang Sharanam Gacchami. And I said, you know what you do? The others will come and I showed them something. And you come and you surrender this stick at the feet of the Lord. You don't have to do everything with gestures. That's what mudras are for. So I said, this is for the divine. You surrender and you say, forgive me. Right? The next day, all his aggression was gone. I've never seen this kind of transformation, this instant transformation in anybody. And he had mellowed down completely. I'll go and meet him this time and let's see how he is. Whether he's gone back to his aggressive self or not. One needs to keep on hammering this gentleness with love, with empathy, not sympathy, with empathy, love, and acceptance. If you don't accept them as one of yours, nothing will be attained. If you treat them as students, and if you treat them as somebody you have gone to reform, it doesn't work that way. Theory doesn't work. It's all about feelings. And something, Teddy, I get so much love from people. I have to give away to make space for more. That's a selfish attitude, I think. I have to keep loving people so that I can empty myself to receive more.
Why did you never join a political party?
Because I would have ruined that party. Because I'm free to say what I want. And I'm free to do what I want. And, I would have said the most outrageous things maybe, which would have gone against the party itself. I think they would have discarded me in 2 days. Anyway,
you were telling me that you sold ornaments to do something.
Yeah. See, when I started this work, I wouldn't call it my work, this journey. People knew I was dealing with criminals. And when I needed some funds, and I asked a few people I know, I wouldn't call them friends, but somebody I know. And one of the ladies had said that I was glamorizing criminals. And I felt so bad hearing that. This was in the beginning. I said, I'll never, ever ask anybody for anything. So that's
Do I know the lady?
No, you don't know. So I had to, that's when I had to earn also. That's when I started taking a remuneration for my performances. I don't take any appearance fee or so because I belong to a different era. But then I was doing this Moksha Gati. You may not have seen it. It's
I
film
have.
and stage.
Yes,
Okay?
I have.
All right. So while I was making that, I had no idea about filmmaking. So the expenses, the budget, it had exceeded, and I couldn't step back. I had to complete it. I started selling my jewelry. So I didn't tell anybody that I was selling it. It's my jewelry. I'll do what I want with it. Okay? Whether I hang it on my neck.
In
or I
fact,
don't sell it.
there is no shame in selling jewelry.
No.
I mean, it's okay.
No, I didn't tell anybody. And then when a couple of people knew, somebody asked me, "Where are you getting the money from?" I said, "I sold my jewelry." He said, "Are you mad?" I said, "No, I'm not mad. Actually, I released my jewelry also because they were all locked up in that locker. And I think they are also happy that they are now free. Instead of hanging on my neck and being there, they are free. And they have served a purpose, right? I don't think I've lost anything. And I feel good that I've been able to do it. And I didn't have to take anybody's permission. It's mine. I'm not taking anybody else's jewelry and selling it. So while going through this, I understood people. They may appreciate the performances, and that day they are actually treated like artists. I've seen that in people's eyes, right?
Thank you.
But how many of them will give them a job when they are out? That's a big question mark. That's why I always, with folded hands, I say two things repeatedly, thousands of times. That give them a second chance, not a third. But everybody deserves a second chance. And we must never forget that no child is born a criminal. Why they do what they do in a situation, who are we to judge? And they have already been judged for the wrong they have done. Do we need to punish them over and over again? But we do. We do.
We do.
Yeah. So now that this is my work, now to speak to people, to give them that second chance. That is why I go for startups, so that they don't have to work in their office or where they will be in close vicinity, but help them to grow, help them to live. Before growing, let them live, right? I must tell you about this, one of my boys who's a truck driver. Okay, so he drives between Gujarat and Maharashtra, but he calls me. He used to call me, and sometimes I said that Bapu, you have to call me at least once a month because I worry because you're on the highway, you're driving on the highway. So when you don't call, I feel a little anxious. He says, no, ma, I'll do that. So then when he got married, he sent me a train ticket to his village. Right, I couldn't go. Then one day he called me and says, Ma, I've got a son. I said, when? He says, just now. I was so touched that they remember me at these moments. I mean, he's far away. Physically, he's far away. We hardly talk. We hardly meet. But at moments like this, they remember me. What more could I want? And the other day he called me. I said, you have not called me for so many, I think, couple of months now, more than 2 months. He says, no, I wanted to give you a surprise. I said, what is it? He says, now I own 2 trucks. These are the moments of my life when I feel, yes, God has given me so much. I don't need anything material. I don't. I didn't even have a car till 2 years back. My own car. That's also not my car. It belongs to the organization, not mine personally. But at least I use it. It's convenient. So there is so much to do. I work with the juveniles. They're a different ball game altogether. The ones who are in conflict with law. They teach me how to escape. How they try to escape. They teach me all. they also crave for love. I really want to do so much for them. I'll tell you why. They are the repeat offenders. Because juvenile justice is a lot more liberal, right? So usually very few are convicted. So when they're released, the school does not take them back. The family rebukes them. Friends don't mix with them. Where do they go? Everybody wants to be accepted, right?
Of course.
So if
We
they're
all care for validation in
Yes.
some form or the other.
Yes. So if it's the wrong people or the wrong world that accepts them, that's where they go. You can't blame them.
Of course not.
So we need to think about them. I have some plans, but I really don't. I'm a dreamer. I have a lot of plans, but I don't have the means to do much. Um, I'm sure and now my work is I don't have to do it. Anybody can do it. It's not, something, I don't know how many of you know, because nobody writes much. When I write, I never write capital I for I. If I write capital I, why won't I write capital Y for you? That ignites your ego, the first thing. So my I is always small I. So I don't believe in what I am doing. No. I just want to plant this into people's mind so everybody, or maybe many people, can come forward and understand, realize what the society needs. We are the one who breed criminals, and we are the ones who can stop that.
The silence that I took is because I'm speechless. Honestly, I am. I don't know what to ask her anymore. I have just one observation. If this episode of No Format goes out to all those who are a part of active politics in this country, they should understand one basic thing. There's a difference between serving greed, serving violence, and serving humanity. Alokananda Ray doesn't need to join a political party to serve humanity. She hasn't formed a political party to reform lives. She's an artist. An artist can do that. Let's try and touch lives. Till then, see you very soon on the next episode of No Format. I'm extremely grateful to my team at the Farrago Media, Indranil and Ishan and their team, who's shooting this season of No Format. And all of you who watch No Format, I heartily do a namaskar to all of you and express my gratitude, because you're the ones who will also show the way to touch lives. If you have any comment or feedback, do feel free, because freedom gives you strength, gives you love.